over here. And hey everybody, welcome to Granblue Radio. This is episode number 292. It is August 25th in America, August 26th in Japan. There's quite a bit to get to. Some of it's small, some of it not so small. So let's get this started. This is Vibrating Sheep of Granblue_EN, and with me to yell at me when I'm wrong.
It's DJ.
All right, so I was helping a friend in Tefnut because of it's the extra drops campaign right
Missions.
now.
Also
What was that?
missions.
Yeah, I'm actually done with the Tefnut mission already. I'm done with a lot of the water missions, because well they're affected by extra drops. This is the first time that NEAD fights have been included in extra drops, so I'm finally getting all the anima that I need instead of just like staring at freaking granny anima and stuff like that and going, this is not what I wanted, please. But yeah, so speaking of missions, the thing that they just did as of yesterday at 11 p.m. Before, using raid skip did not count toward your missions.
Well, we didn't have raid skip.
We had hard skip, but we did not have
No, I never remember hard
Magna
being
Pro.
part of missions though.
Right. Well, it also matters because, Angel Halo Pro doesn't count as doing 10 special missions at a time. It doesn't even count as doing one. It just counted as skip. With Magna being skippable now, a lot of those raids that people were like, can I get credit for this now, please? Because especially since all of those Omegas are part of the missions, they're like, so you're saying that we shouldn't skip, that we shouldn't use this new quality of life feature that you put in. Cygames went, good point. We're fixing this right away. And so
Yeah.
the day that this went live, they said, all right, everybody gets a new set of Omega Pros. So if you didn't use it yet, you can do it twice. And if you did do it already, here's 3 out of the 10. And so you press the button, and I got like 12 or 13 raid completion or mission completions. It felt good. It felt
Well,
nice.
the big difference between Angel Halo and this is that Angel Halo is spammable.
True, these are limited.
Raids are not.
hmm So it is a good quality of life change. I sort of wish that Angel Halo had this change because the most annoying one to do on most weeks is the 50 special quests one because it's just tedious. And a lot of the special quests that you used to do every day were Angel Halo. And so you just hit skip now. And so there's less reason to do 50 of them. But anyway, good change. But there was a big update yesterday, so what do you want to start with?
Let me look
Well,
at
it's
the
2 days
agenda.
ago now. We have new shields, we have a new class, we have a new high-level fight and its drop.
Let's talk about the new class.
Alright, so the new class is... so in Japanese, it's a Greek word panacea, which is like panacea in English now due to just linguistic drift. And um, the big thing about it is it's now called iatromantis, which is another Greek word that isn't already used by a skill in the game.
True.
So let's go take a look at the new Tier 5. There's a lot of play to this thing because unlike Viking, which kind of has a false choice when it comes to dual wielding,
You literally either just do both or you just choose one
yeah,
in
it doesn't.
Viking.
It barely matters. Um, this one has 3 different modes based on which ones that you do. So you have a spear, a staff, or 2 staves, or 2 spears. So 2 spears is the attack mode. This is the one that you'll see most often, honestly. The attack mode is if main and auxiliary weapon are both spears, this is a purging aura. You always triple attack, and you get, I believe, 30% chaser.
That is correct.
Um, it only requires 2 spears, so this is essentially Apsaris light because you don't get things like the amplified damage or anything like that. But you know what? You don't need to have 5 spears or axes. You just need to have 2. And
Also, there's not many things you can amplify with this class. This
yeah,
thing doesn't have very good innate nukes.
hmm so there's that. The double staff is healer mode, so you get a boost to your healing cap. I did
It's
not.
20%.
It's 20%, and so base the heal of this class gives 5,000. It gives a 5,000 heal and 2,500 to all parties. So with 20%, you get 6,000, and then your MC has so many healing nodes at this point that it goes up to like what 8,000 or something. It's a lot.
And then there's weapon grid. Yeah,
hmm You're also immune to debuffs.
that one's very important.
hmm And then you also gain auto revive at the start of battle, which is something that they had on Sage that people kind of forgot about, to be perfectly honest.
To be fair, auto revive does not keep your clock going down. So, and also a lot of times, you get death elucidated nowadays.
Death ineluctable, yeah. All right, and then the staff and spear mode is aiding aura. This is the one that I've seen the least because it is a boost to multi attack to all allies,
15% DA, 10% TA.
which is pretty negligible given that a lot of the time the best characters to use give it to themselves. All this multi attack, and so they don't need that. And then this is the one that is kind of interesting. At turn start, there's a chance to just remove a debuff from all of your allies.
It's like around a 30% chance.
The thing is that this is the least reliable one. It's two different things that are a small chance to happen, as opposed to you always get triple attacks with Chaser or you are always immune to debuffs. And so, like, aiding aura is the one that I've seen the least of, but like there's a lot of play to just the supports. Now, we get to its main skill, which is big healing to all parties' HP. We mentioned that part. It also has clarity built into it now, which is important for coming back to this later.
It's on a
And
5-turn cooldown. It's pretty nice.
it's on a 5-turn cooldown, and it says 1 turn cut to all allies debuff durations. This is something that's been more and more important as time goes on. Um, and yeah, like it's a set of very good stuff. Now let's get into its EMPs, because these things are also really good. So there's Megaliphotia. This one is almost literally a Thief ultimate that goes off in full auto. So in 10 turns, you do 1,000% elemental damage. That part really doesn't matter. What matters is that
1.9 million cap.
right. So that it is a decent amount of damage. But the important part is that your character will press this on full auto. Then all allies heal to full, and you remove all debuffs from your team. Um, Once again, this is something that is a full auto design. Like I'm sure, I feel like we will see this in Unite and Fight and very few other places.
I feel it's more actually closer to dogs. Was it dog? No,
Monkey,
monkey. Yeah, monkey turn
Summer
10.
Monkey, or regular
Yeah,
monkey.
summer.
hmm
Because thief does not actually remove debuffs. She just gives all HP and revive people who are dead with a small caveat.
That's fire. There has to be space for them, and they have to be dead. If there's no space for them on the front line, she will not revive anybody. I
Yeah.
kind of hate it about that. Anyway, but um, admittedly, this is also something that you can use in manual in order to actually take advantage of all of these things that you can do once. It's pretty nice stuff.
Yeah. Can't be recasted, so use your heal wisely.
hmm All right,
Don't
next.
use it while you're zombied because I'm pretty sure it'll heal you first and then remove
Usually it
debuffs.
happens in word order, yeah. So it'll full heal you and then remove all debuffs and kill you. But I don't know. We'll find out. Here's a Mintico Foss. So it's a 10-turn cooldown. This is very significant. It's for freaking ever. But so it gives Veil once, That's all right. Fine, whatever. Everybody deals one-time triple attacks.
So if you attack out of turn somehow, they'll use that up.
Hmm. And here's the very important one. Therapeutic stance effect to MC. So this is something that they started introducing with Lily, and every time it's come up, it has been good. So you will cast your first skill when a foe uses a special attack. It says first slot skill because there have been cases where people want to use this EMP with an earlier line thing. This happens most often with Viking, but maybe down the line, tier 6, the first slot skill will matter too. Or anyway, the point is that when the enemy uses a special attack, your MC will heal your entire team for what, 7,000 or so. Clear everybody and lower the debuff durations on things that cannot be claritied by 1.
Or things that are still stuck on you.
Mm-hmm. And so this is very good. Like, that's why it has a 10-turn cooldown. I think Lily's has like a 9-turn cooldown, and it's still amazing. Is it 9? It is 8. Yeah. So a little bit longer, but still very good.
Yeah, she also has three uses of hers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is fair. All right, here's Numa, the last one. It's a yellow button. So they've learned from the past also, because there's only actually one green-colored EMP in the entire freaking Sage line. All right, so here's Numa. It is choose a single ally. They get 100% attack up on the normal mod. They get, what is it, 100% defense, I think, or is it 50?
100.
It's 100. They get DA up.
100%.
Triple attack up.
20%.
And they receive more healing.
It's a 500 HP boost. So if you have like a refresh on you, it's nicer.
So this is something that they've also put on support characters before. It's similar to characters like, say, Summer Korwa or Sylph, or all sorts of characters have this now. And now you can pack it on your MC.
100% defense goes a long way.
A lot of this goes a very long way. So, did you actually see the tweet that someone did of their latest Blue Sea solo that is 2 characters? It was an Iatromantis main character and Christmas Nemone. And that's
I
it.
can't do this.
Right, but the point is that like this class has a whole lot of solo play to it, and then this is a big part of it, just like every other character who has that. But it's a proof of concept more than anything else. Like, if once you have 2 more characters, they can put this on, right? But like, the things that you can do with this class are many. Many. And so like we'll be seeing a lot of this class. Like, so we have Viking as the damage class, we have Paladin as the survival sustain class and the damage cuts, and then this one I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot of as sort of the you get a lot of multi-attack, and you have a lot of healing and sustain utility on your main character class. Like and then the dual wield requirement on it, double staff or spear. Like spear is actually quite easy to do, like. If you're say looking at fire spears, right? We've already got a good fire spear with the Hollow Sky. From there, you have a bunch of other choices. Like even the Atum spear is pretty fine. It's not great because of that preemptive fire blade, but there's a lot of play you can do with it with awakening and such. Anyway, or like water, you have the Wamdis spears. Wind has all sorts of spears just lying around. We've got Xeno, they've got the Qinglong spears, their Opus. Like, this is one of the easiest things to fulfill. Like, Light Spear, if you're you've got Pillars of Flame and the Rongo. Dark Spear has Xeno and a few other things like that. Like Fediel's weapon is a spear, I believe, like the character.
Yes.
I think the hardest one might be Earth to get double spear in.
You have the Dagger Peak, I believe,
There's
and
Dagger
also
Peak from Proving Grounds. There's
there's also what was the other
Rise of
one?
the Beasts has a crit spear.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
And then there's the Hanged Man spear here. But the Hanged Man spear is something that I consider difficult. But yeah, like this pulling in Sage and Apsaris elements has led to a very versatile, extremely good class.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I like how it plays because it's varied. There's a lot more variability to it than Viking. All right. So next up, let's see here. There's the Atramantis. Let's go talk about a couple of things they added to another Tier 5 class. So they said before that there were going to be new
More
shields,
shields.
and they followed through on that. So here's the Tiamat shield. It comes from Tiamat. Surprise! It's
Just
new
like the
S.
Colo shield comes from Colo.
Mm-hmm. I haven't gotten this one yet. It'll come. Like with Omega Pro, it's gonna drop someday because you just press a button and you do it 3 times. This is the one here, one of the new ones, the True Dragon Shield or the Uter Nogadr Uljeish.
It's like you're talking like a dragon.
I'm trying. I'm trying. They want us to go to Lindworm.
Good. No one fights that thing.
Yes.
So we need 4 people to join this stupid raid.
Yes. They reduced its they didn't reduce its HP very much, but what they did was they made its omens breakable, and they've
That's
added a
cool.
shield.
They never killed me.
Yeah, there's like 3 times the number of normal people in Lindworm.
Good.
Good.
Literally no one joined me, so I had to solo it for 10 minutes or 15 minutes sometimes.
Speaking of fights that you would no one would join and 15 minutes would pass, let's talk about Zoe HL with this Shield of Lamentation here. Because the Peacemaker's Wings Impossible is one of the most annoying, is actually the most annoying fight that a gold brick can drop from.
Yeah.
And so people just don't want to do it. And so there's reason to do it now. Unfortunately, the regular Peacemaker's Wings, she evaporates now, so I actually haven't been able to get into one at all
Yeah,
since.
no, that thing literally dies.
Yeah. But yeah, like those two kind of needed the help. I'm a little sad that the numbers will start going down over time. I really want them to just lower the number of HP that Lindworm has. They've already done that change for Grand Order HL. I will eventually get around to soloing that thing and just having it on full auto and having it be part of my daily routine. But till then, I'm glad for more people joining. The last two are the ones that I already have from this update. Why? Because they just cost anima.
100. Let's see here. Twin Elements anima plus 10 Omega anima and 150 Gilgamesh anima.
Yeah, so it's basically 150 for each. So there's a few things that get in the like. Hold on, what was mine before? I think I had the defense one, right? Yeah, defense shield. But yeah, I'm glad that they're tradable. Oh hey, this is a better defense one. All right, new shield. Cool, I like it. Do we have confirmation that the triple attack passive um, on Paladin goes past 55%? Because with 5 new shields, we're at 16, so with 5% triple attack each, it might be up to 80% triple attack on the Paladin passive.
Current confirmed is still 55, so no one's actually confirmed.
Okay, so we don't know yet. We'll find out later. It's still very good, but yeah. Um, the other thing they did was they let us take the helmet off, and for Paladin, I really didn't like that helmet. Like, look at this portrait.
I
That
like the helmet.
that helmet just is. I personally am not a fan of it. I do like the Viking helmet, and I also like the Dark Fencer helmet grew on me after a while, but I'm glad to have the option. Thanks, Games. Not really much to say more to say about that.
Hmm.
All right, the next thing that happened on the 24th was the new fight Mugen. Um, this is the
He's an
second.
asshole.
He's just a big boy. Just a big boy. All right. All right. So the things about Mugen. So remember we said last week it's like we're gonna wait to judge Wamdis until Mugen we figure out what Mugen does. Well, it turns out that Wamdis is the perfect character for what Mugen wants because Mugen really doesn't like healing, and Wamdis doesn't heal. Well, she drains sometimes, but that's not the point. Like,
I mean, it's not like he's adverse to healing. It's just you after a certain point you can't heal anymore.
yeah, and also he becomes immunity buffs. Is very much an upgraded version of his Proud fight from Seeds of Redemption all the way back then.
Yeah, I totally forgot that he healed himself to full during that fight until
Hmm.
this happened.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this is a pretty normal fight when you're doing Proud for the first time. And then the music changes, he turns blue, and you're like, oh, oh. Thankfully, they simplified him a lot from that because there were, uh, just like the original. I'm not saying Gabriel, it's Gilbert. The original Gilbert Pride of the Ascendant. That one had way too many conditions. They simplified it for Mugen. They simplified it even more for this one. So the whole point of Mugen is the first phase of the fight is essentially like attrition and trying to break his 20 stacks. So you need your team as a team needs to break 20 omens to reduce him to the lowest possible defense and attack.
If you don't do that before the first part, there's
You're in,
no more omens to break.
yeah, nothing is breakable past the first part. He also becomes immune to debuffs. So Shalem's gone. Um, like Cupiton isn't really a character in this fight. Stuff like that.
I like this side note of in practice debuffs never land, though Mugen's technically not immune because they miss instead of resist.
Sure. Um, but yeah, like the flavor of his design as a raid boss, like Rodrant was saying, it's really cool because so he gets really mad and then he stops playing by the rules. He goes berserk. He's immune to debuffs just like a lot of the other berserk characters in the game. Notably, certain debuffs don't fall off though. The important one that doesn't fall off is Boaz, the bewitching moonlight here. This one's important because, yeah, it's really good to have that thing on him for phase 2.
Yeah, permanent debuff on him. It's
Mm-hmm.
really good.
But yeah, so what most people do right now is they just keep blocking until there's an omen. They break the omen if they can, and then they keep blocking. Um, because going too fast will kill the rest of the raid. So they're just like, no, don't worry about it. Um, the two different kinds of omens are either press 5 buttons, which is the easy one, uh, as long as you actually know it's coming, and then deal 30 hits. Deal 30 hits is the one that certain teams are built for, and then you sacrifice the hit count characters. So, Water has a lot of characters who are good at hit count, but fewer who are good at phase 2 and hit count. So, a lot of characters get sacrificed at this point. There's like Fioer, who gives your entire team a chaser. Socie gives your entire team a chaser. Hosselia can give your team a chaser, but it requires so much setup that you basically pretend it's not there for the first part.
It's just CA and then double moon.
It is CA and Double Moon. The thing is that with all of the blocking that you're doing, it is very hard to set up. Because you have to CA, then you have to wait 2 turns to see what the next one is going to be, sometimes 3 turns. And then, if it's 30 hit, then it's set up. But, on the plus side, she can double Boaz, which is 10 hits.
Yeah. Well, numberless is also two. You have 2 skills right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're not 0 turn cooldowns. Um, I enjoy having Vajra on here because she has a normally dead button that just exists to press one of the 5 buttons. Um, but yeah, like there's Poseidon with a lot of people use Poseidon with Fioer to just give him chaser. Some use Lancelot. Um, there's a lot of different ways to do this. There's like Viking comps that use Decimate. I mean, I use Decimate on my Kengo, but it's less effective for Decimate reasons. There's no Ox weapon for a Kengo. But yeah, like it's kind of interesting. Then the real fight starts, and the 1-2 combo that Mugen does is he first does No Limit, which puts a gajillion buffs that cannot be removed onto Mugen.
It's the same buffs that he actually puts himself in if you use them normally.
So it's multi-attack up, supplemental damage, defense up,
damage, bonus fire damage, defense up, attack up.
Yeah. And so he gives himself the regular Mugen buffs. And this is where things start really hurting, because the first trigger he does is called Ballistic Big Boy after No Limit, and it does a set 100,000 fire damage. You cannot block it for any effect, and it puts Strong Armed on you for the rest of the fight. So you are not allowed to heal for the rest of this fight. It is, however, one really big hit. So there's multiple ways to deal with it. There is Whamdis skill 1, option 1, and then she CAs, and your entire team is unchallenged. That's the most common way. If you're a paladin, you can do 80% fire cut, and that reduces it 20,000, and then you can do like any kind of summon cut. Like a lot of people use Fire Carbuncle, Gabriel, Kaong. Isaiah uses Tomioka Gyu, even though he has a 12-turn cooldown.
Other thing you can do is the typical all sub to main character and reduce the damage.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Paladin can take care of that. The
problem with using Paladin, though, as I've learned, and also some of our crewmates have learned, is that sometimes you just don't do enough damage.
Yeah, because then comes the real part of the fight. So Mugen is based on his Proud fight, where he's just going to punch you, but there's 2 conditions that he's looking for. And if one of them is true, he will get angry and set something up. And these are omens that cannot be broken. He's looking for you to deal at least 10 million damage in a turn to him. So no blocking. You have to deal that 10 million damage. This is why a lot of people are using characters like Dog, or I still see Grand Lancelot in the second phase. Hosselia can actually enable doing a lot of damage, because if she can CA loop successfully, then she's doing the Valentine's Monica thing. Like, and if you fail to do that, though, if you fail to do that 10 million damage, is it Ballistic Big Boy, or is it Impact that he sets up on the next turn?
Yeah, it is Ballistic Big Boy, because Impact is if you take enough damage.
That's right.
In the turn, he will do Infinity Impact, and usually, what happens afterwards is that you get Ballistic Big Boy.
Right. Okay. So we call that the combo. So you have to do 10 million damage a turn and take less than, I think it's 30,000 total among all your characters.
We don't have that on the wiki. It's
theory. We're not sure on the exact numbers, but if you take a certain amount of damage among all your characters, and remember that Mugen is triple attacking with Chaser
and hitting everybody, and it's supplemented.
Yeah. Even like I have something like a passive 75 or 100% defense, between having like Haselia's Moon up, having like I have the Wamdis Umbrella 25%. I have a defense Schrodinger, stuff like this. With all of that, I still take like 5,000 hit plus Chaser, which is where damage mitigation comes in again. So Paladin or Wamdis.
Yeah, Wandos is really good in this fight.
Yeah. Like, this is the exact kind of situations that we said that fire bosses do a lot, and that Wamdis is set up to take care of. Yeah, even with 300 defense and 80 cut, she still just eats a lot of damage. Um, and so, like, this is definitely a damage mitigation fight rather than anything else. Like, I've seen Lily do really well in this fight because of fire cut. You know, the old combo of, like, Lily plus a fire bunkle or, you know, the super bunkle here. Um, level 100 and 100 plus Onrey because he has fire cut, 100% fire cut. I've seen him get used.
Yeah, because I don't believe Mugen actually looks at your all damage cut. He only looks at your fire damage cut.
Hmm. But yeah, um, it becomes an absolute slugfest as you're desperately trying to not only deal a bunch of damage to him every turn, but also not take a bunch of damage. So there's Ballistic Big Boy, and then we've talked about how people deal with Ballistic Big Boy, usually 100% cut. What is it? Infinity Impact is the second one?
Infinity Impact.
The
He does
big problem.
10 random hits. It lowers all your charge bars if you're even touched, not even hit, you touched. Cuts your buff durations and inflicts stun.
Yeah. So it, and by the way, the cut to buff duration, it's not like 2 turns pass or 3 turns pass. It just
It's
says
like
all of the
4 or
turns.
6.
All of the turns pass. It's like holy it's crazy and it's hard, especially since you now have to deal with another turn where you're trying to do 10 million damage with no meter and no buffs. And so, like, I've seen a lot of people, they pack meter summons for this, like Typhon or Huang Long or
Michael.
Michael. Like, they save their buttons for it. But the biggest thing is that right now, the most stable way to do the fight, pending, you know, we have to note that there is a very defensively oriented character who is getting her 5-star uncap in a week and a half.
Oh, and
And right now, the most stable thing is, remember how we said you hold your Fated Chain as if it was a a damage reduction cooldown?
yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah, you Fated Chain, and then the next turn you try and build enough meters so that Wamda CAs to do her mitigation, and then hopefully you've chained enough to get another Fated Chain, and then you do that, and you go back and forth, and if you do it right, just right, and you don't get interrupted, and you don't have to worry about infinity impact and things like that, then you can loop them.
Yeah. When I got to the end of one of our fights here earlier that we ran,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I lost enough HP that I couldn't actually do break ballistic big boy anymore
Mm.
because I was also double Schrodinger.
Right. But yeah, this fight is. I personally think it's cool. I've only been.
It's amazing. I like this
Yeah,
fight.
I've been doing it for 2 or 3 days, and like, it's very simple, while also being something that I have to just like kind of think about every turn, just in case. It's like, do I have what it takes to deal 10 million damage and not take a bunch of damage? Do I need to use a cut this turn and specifically this turn? Like, when do I have to beg for help, with someone summon? Like, I know paladin players have to have like a huge damage summon up front. I only have defensive summons up front. Stuff like that.
Oh yeah, because you're also doing Kengo strats.
Hmm. Like, paladins have to bring offensive summons because they're a defensive class. Kangos bring defensive summons. There are some really big brained and amazing Viking strategies right now
Oh,
that I've started seeing. So Viking there's an Enmity Viking build that I'm like in love with, and it involves some of the following things. Number one, it main hands Rise of Justice. Number two, when it gets hit by the first ballistic big boy, it uses Titan. It does not use anything else. It does not use Whamdis. It doesn't do anything like that. It goes to 1 hit point. But the good thing is that Rise of Justice has a 4,000 shield that goes to all allies.
And
And
it
if
only
you're
consumes your current HP, not your max HP.
mm-hmm. And then the strategies that I've seen for it involve using the old strategy of Lily plus a Carbuncle effect plus Fiora extend, and because they're Vikings, you have 2 extends. It's pretty sick. I'm a big fan of just like the Enmity builds and stuff like that their people are bringing to this.
That's
It's
pretty funny.
super fun looking. And
I like
so
that a lot.
yeah. But yeah, because their defense gets so high at 1 hit point, but also because they have 100% cut, then they
And
don't have.
shield.
Yeah, it's really fun. It eventually splatters against the floor, but it works. You know, like that's 3 different viable classes. We're not 6 paladining this. We're not 6 Kengoing this necessarily. You can, but
Or
there's
one can go 5 Robin Hoods.
yeah, like there's play to this. I like it. I'm a fan of it. Now we're going to talk though about the thing that I remember you saying that you're not a big fan of, and people have said this out loud to me as well. Let's go to fire, sword. This is your actual reward for doing Mugen, the Extinction Blade. So here are the weapons. Here are the skills. So it's Inferno's Garrison,
So big garrison.
Fire Solaire,
So small.
attack and crit, and then Craft.
Why is it craft?
So
Like,
Craft is set
craft
to
is the
20k,
worst.
right?
Yes, it's the worst of the different supplementals.
So I really wish that this had been like one of the special ones, that like the Whamdis one, which is 50k. Like Craft is a worse Whamdis spear, right?
So I'm gonna actually list. There's actually only 3 weapons that fire has. By the way, that has this type of what's it called? Supplemental damage.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is Hollow Sky Spear,
Mm-hmm.
which only affects 2 types of allies.
Right.
You have to be above 80% HP,
Mm-hmm.
and you only get 30k of supplemental.
Right. It was one of the first to do that, but yeah, it's got a lot of requirements to it.
Next up is the Kiss of the Devil. It requires you to have a debuff on the foe,
A
which you cannot do if you're in. You can only do with Frau for CA if you are in a non-wind fight.
mm-hmm.
And then the last one's Wilderness's Finger.
Wilness's finger requires you to be at low health, and so it's been a pretty niche one since its start. Although, as we've seen, a lot of these things get their shine in harder content. So there's 2 things about this that I'm looking at. So one, it's farmable garrison, but as is the case with almost every garrison, it's on the Inferno's multiplier. So you have to be Agni to multiply this to get the full benefit of garrison.
Yeah. Otherwise, so I looked at the chart. When you're around like half HP, which is like kind of golden standard, like right,
Right.
you get only 23% defense.
Which is less than just awakening this thing to defense. But, which, the fact that these things have enormous awakenings is something that we should keep in mind. But, keep going.
So when you have small Solaire, by the way, it's 3% crit.
3%. So, you multiply that by 4 for going double Agni, which is not a given, and it becomes multiplied by 4, and it's 12%.
So even if you have like a grid of 5 of these to max out your craft, A, you're gonna have the diminishing returns because of garrison,
Mm-hmm.
and B, you have also small attack, and you don't even guarantee crit still.
So, all right. With that in mind, the fact is that this can be awakened, and the awakenings on the Diaspora tier weapons are ridiculous. So you can have a lot of attack on it. So
So
that makes up for the small attack amount. Go
if you
ahead.
go for that
Mm-hmm.
route, if you're a Magna, for example, you will get 47% normal attack. For that.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that if you're just splashing a normal modifier, you still would rather have like a Bahamut dagger, for example,
Mm-hmm.
because the Bahamut dagger is 35% plus 4% per matching ally,
Mm-hmm.
but you also get HP on top of that.
Okay. So next, let's talk about the HP portion of this. So if you awaken this to defense, then it's 25% flat defense, which is better than the garrison at half health unmodified. Modified, then garrison gets a lot better, of course, but we're leaving it as unmodified for the sake of this argument. And you get a whole bunch of HP.
Is it 25%?
Was it?
My chart's rating 15.
Is it 15? Okay.
We want double check with your awakening real quick because I don't have this weapon to check.
All right. Let me check my Schrodinger's. Water.
Well, not Schrodinger. I think you have to check this weapon.
Does it? Okay, hold on. I cannot.
Schrodinger's is really good.
Mm-hmm. Because here's my defensive Schrodinger Awakening, which is 15. Yeah, you're right, but it's 55% HP. Right.
Yeah.
That's a lot of HP. All right, and then yeah, the craft part, like, it is
I
the
don't know
weakest
why
of
it's
those
craft.
modifiers.
I really don't know why it's craft.
If only they'd actually just given it like the whatever Waters Covenant or whatever the Wamdistas thing is called, Azure Covenant.
Something Covenant.
Mm-hmm. Because yeah,
Yeah, if it was that, that would be way more worth it. You would run 2 of these, no matter what build you were going for.
right. So putting this into the context of a fire grid. So let's just say that you're going into the Wind Diaspora fight, right? We don't know what the Wind Diaspora fight is, who it will be, what it will require. But let's just say that you're building for survival. And so this one relatively cleanly takes the place of the Gangsta Knife.
That makes
Because
me really sad, by the way.
the Gangsta Knife is also Garrison and Crit. So this is a strict upgrade because you still have the Garrison. You take the... Well, actually, it's medium crit, I think, on Gangsta Knife, isn't it? No, it's still
So
small?
it's Gangsta Knife is big enmity, small crit, and medium garrison.
That's right. So it replaces the enmity. So the Garrison's better. The attack is reliable instead of being enmity. But then Awakening basically makes this weapon blow Gangsta Knife out of the water. But then you have like 2 Fists of Destruction, for example, if you want to keep critting, because this weapon requires you to crit to get the benefit of its 3rd skill. And so you're kind of locked to 2 Fists of Destruction, probably.
If you don't want to clog your grid with anything else, yes, you need 2 Fists of Destruction.
And then the rest of it is like survival stuff, let's just say, because, let's take a look at what a Mugen grid looks like right now, right? Where it's like, I am currently packing enough hit points to get my main character to like 120,000. It's only partially because of the Wambrella. It's also just because I want that many hit points to have just leeway. I want leeway, right? And I'm running Garrison here. So this is 2 medium Garrisons. I'm running an Awakened Schrodinger. All sorts of things like that. For the specific requirements of the Mugen fight, I'm running an Ultima with boost to charge gain, by the way. That one's pretty funny to me.
I wish I need to run that fight more so I can actually get a 3rd weapon with a... a 2nd weapon to level 20.
But also, the thing is that Schrodinger's cap up, the supplemental thing it does, is way more relevant to hard content, because even when you're doing like the small version of quenching, right, where it's like what 300k I think at the minimum,
I believe so.
where is it 100? Well,
It
anyway,
is 100k.
it's 100k. It's still you need 5 hits before craft catches up to it uh, at the actual minimum value for quenching. And admittedly, um, the way that I currently play the fight, sometimes this quenching value does drop a lot. But
AKA my last fight.
but you still have ascendancy here, which is the CA damage special CA cap, and the fact is that since you're running, say, Kengo and you're getting a bunch of buffs, if you haven't been infinity impacted, then your MC is still doing like 6 out of the 10 million you need just by CAing once.
Yeah.
Um, the way that the Extinction Blade is better than Schrodinger is because Blade's Wrath is pretty negligible. This top skill is pretty meh.
Yeah, but the other thing is that quenching's really good.
But quenching specifically is very good, and the way that high level content is designed right now, it's this. Because unless, whoever the Wind Esper is requires you to hit him like 30 times a turn, then quenching isn't really gonna not then like a quenching style skill would probably still be better because I mean CAs are essentially a fourth or fifth ability for most characters now. You
Yeah.
just need to hit those as often as you can in order to live, and while also doing
or gain
damage.
resources.
Yeah, and so um, I understand people's frustration with the extinction blade. I think that there's room for at least one, maybe two, but the second one would be there basically for its awakening and not for its skills.
It's definitely not there for his skills at that point.
Hmm. Maybe the second large garrison. The second large garrison could also be a good thing to have, but like where Schrodinger was, its value was in its second skill, and the third skill was very nice also. This one, like the value is much more in the awakening itself.
Yeah, no. With Schrodinger, you still have an option to choose Special Awakening.
Hmm.
This one, there's no reason to ever choose Special Awakening.
Yeah. I mean, everything has its context. We'll find out what the wind context is, but this one, like the thing about Schrodinger when it came out is that Schrodinger people looked at Schrodinger and went, as long as I'm at high health, then this thing deads Columba. Um, what I didn't think that it would dead Columba, but mostly it has.
Yeah,
But
and then it became later down the lines like, if you just have a couple of these, and also it's Awakening, that's Columba.
yeah, like one possible solution to the Columba problem is like, why don't you run 5 Schrodingers? I'm like, okay, hold on, guys, please, you gotta calm down.
And guess what? People are running those builds with different elements.
Yeah, just for awakening, right? Because the
Yeah,
awakening skills apply to everything.
it doesn't care.
Yeah. And so it's a 55% HP weapon and 15% defense weapon.
Yeah, it's really ridiculous on defense.
Hmm. And you still get, I believe you still get the wrath ability because it doesn't say water, does it?
Wrath is always multi-element.
Yeah. So yeah, unfortunate for the fire part. We'll see. Like I see room for at least one.
Can I have a good supplemental fire weapon that's not a gotcha weapon, please?
I mean, yeah, there's the Atum staff for CAs. That's the good one right now. But yeah, so that's Mugen and the rewards for Mugen. I do enjoy the design of the fight and what it requires you to do. Very
Oh, the fight's
simple,
amazing.
but also high execution.
Makes you think on your toes.
Hmm.
You have to pay attention to all your cooldowns, all your meters.
Like I spent so much time looking at Wamda's skill 1 going, please, please don't push, guys, please don't push. And thankfully everybody else is also doing chain bursts every turn. So they have a hard lockout of like 16 seconds where they can't do anything. I'm like, oh please let me take a turn. Uh,
I love starting the fight, by the way,
hmm
in phase one, and you just see the Wanda stack up to 10 already.
Oh yeah, because on entry, Wamdis reacts and puts on a Toxicosis stack, and then us, other people who have Wamdis, they come in, and she also immediately does the same thing, so it stacks up to like 6 immediately. And
It's
so in
hilarious.
our first day of doing that fight, we were just like, "Oh God, please stop ticking down! Please stop ticking down! No, I need, I need to break more omens. Please, guys, help!"
He does have at least Mugen does have a lot of health. So as long as everyone's blocking, everything's fine.
Right. But the problem is, in order to deal 30 hits, the act of dealing 30 hits does a decent chunk of damage. So,
Yeah, I've been
and
yeah, my first run I used to run Poseidon,
mhm,
and then uh Poseidon was not cutting it for me.
that's fair.
I needed someone to give meter period,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
so
that's why
Hase's here.
that's why I just poor Tico. Her best role in any fight is to be in the front line, instantly die, and leave behind a blue potion present.
She had, but you know what? That her EMPs. She's gonna get a lot of EMPs from these.
It's true. But anyway, this does give me hope for the Siegfried portion of things, because Diaspora has turned into a drag. Um, I I still kind of enjoy the fight, but it's also a very sometimes thing, and I've seen a lot of Diasporas where people are just relying on tenacity loot these days. Um, I don't know if that'll happen to Mugen because you can actually solo carry Mugen a lot better if you're competent. It just takes forever because you're constantly stuck in the chain burst lockout.
Yeah, and he has 1.8 billion health.
Yeah, I've done a billion of that damage before. It's not fun. It
Thank
took
you
the full
for your
30
help the other
minutes.
day. Literally, I'm like, I am smoked. Y'all have to figure this out from like 30% on.
All right. So the last thing to talk about is that we have the story event for the next month ready. It's got to
Full
be
Metal
called
Man.
the Full Metal Man: The Last Mission, because this is the seventh in the Ingve series. Water Ingve is 1 through 4. Wind Ingve is 5 and 6. Here's 7.
Yeah, you can actually read the related stories of his Fate episodes for
hmm
this.
You can actually read about um, Ingve's life as a legendary Skyfarer. It is pretty funny seeing the art evolution going from Water Ingve right here, and then just seeing how much more detailed his face is in the Wind version.
Yeah.
Um, you can actually see it in the cast profile here also. Like these characters have noses. Well, okay, the girl doesn't. Ingve has no nose. That's how you know she's his daughter, huh? Anyway,
I
uh,
like how someone made a post on Facebook is like, yeah, Ingve has a daughter. I'm like, dude, this dude literally one per port.
yeah, the in his first Fate episode, they censor this in the English version. Um, they change it to something a little less lewd, but it's like um, the kid who idolizes Ingve is like, yeah, Ingve has like 50 kids with 50 women, and Ingve's like, yeah, try 100, kid.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, thanks, Ingve.
It's like, all right, Ingve. But this is the interesting thing about the stuff so far is that we don't have an outfit. This is not an outfit. It's a style. What does that mean? So Ingve's style swaps his charge attack, his skills, and his battle animations.
So you must already have Ingve.
You have not only have to have Ingve, he also has to be level 100. And character appearance can still be changed after swapping styles. So, what does this mean? Like,
I mean, it's his version of the EX pose.
I think that yeah, we'll see how much this changes. Like, just look at this thing though. He looks like a freaking Zentradi officer pod in this form. I don't think he actually is like a cannon. I don't think that.
I'm pretty sure he is a cannon. I've seen this man work.
Yeah, that's true. But which way is he facing in this one? Like, I think he's facing to the right, and then I don't know, man. There's a lot going on in this silhouette that I don't understand yet.
Is this another? Yep, that's Romeo.
Yep, that's definitely Romeo. Yeah, we'll find out in a few days what this means.
So
But
present boxes for this event, since there's not much else.
hmm yeah, we don't really talk about gifts anymore. Uh,
They exist.
they exist,
We
but
get
yeah,
them.
this styles thing, like this is a whole lot. We're not sure what this means yet, but it's striking, it's weird, it's new, and we'll find out. We'll talk about it next week. And with that, we're done talking about Granblue Fantasy for the week of August 26th. Next
Ooh.
time, we'll have Full Metal Man to talk about. We'll be able to talk about what styles actually mean,
We'll
and what
also
they
have new characters.
and we'll have new characters and choreograph for September. We'll know more about Luffy, probably, maybe.
Yeah,
Anyway,
by this time next week, summer characters will be gone.
that's also true. Just look at what a style is currently in the game. Uh, what styles?
Is it a Dante combo? It's stylish.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Like, I guess the style is Event Melinda? Like, hold on. Trying to remember how do I actually find my Melinda. I think she's dark, but it's don't worry about it. So SR melee type other, I think is how I find Event Melinda. I found her. She's dark. But like that's not really a style. It doesn't I guess you can change the style here, like it changes what this says. I have her on defense and you can change her around um but I don't think
I
that'll
would
happen.
say look at styles, attack, defense, special, heal.
I don't know about
That-
that. But I mean Melinda does change depending on which style she's in.
what you
Her
fed
moves
her.
What was that?
Oh, it depends on what you fed her.
Yeah, depending on what you fed her. But will that be the same thing that applies to Bing Vape?
Find out next week on Granblue Radio.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, we'll just see. We don't know. The closest thing to a precedent we have is Event Melinda, and that's not really a precedent because you can't really change this on the fly. I mean, you can, but you have to go into a side story now. You couldn't for years before. Where is Fall of the Dragon? It's pretty early in GBF history, right? There it is. Can you even change Melinda right now? You can! I could reset Melinda if I want to. I'm not going to, but
It's not worth your effort.
yeah.
Anyways,
Alright. With that, we are going to sign off. Thanks for joining us this week. We will see you next week. Special shout outs, by the way, and condolences to the video editor for Granblue Radio. Henry is going through a rough time right now. He's going to have to put his cat to sleep. So this may be delayed in going to YouTube. Take all the time you need, buddy.
send him some love.
Yeah, send him some love, everybody. Send him love in the comments if you actually are seeing this on YouTube. But we'll see you next time. And yeah, we'll see what a style is. Because this, the thing that you do to Melinda is not presented as a style.